So it makes it tough. There we go.
We are live.
Now,
It's been a minute since it's
the
been
Nutritional
Dr.
Edge.
Chris Brown
I'm
and
back.
Nathan.
I'm back. We are full-fledged, full force, ready to rock your socks off.
All hands on deck.
All hands on deck. Yep. I guess, let's see, week 1 of July was July 4th, and then
Yep.
week 2, I was in St. Louis, and then
Yep.
week 3, I was in Nashville, and now I'm back, and I'm back for a long stretch of time,
Nice.
which is great. And as what I typically do, I shoot Nathan a text, and I'm all like, "What are we talking about?" And Nathan goes, "How about a specific vitamin, such as, I don't know, vitamin A?" And so now here we are about to splurge in on vitamin A, and myself, just like all y'all, probably gonna learn something.
There's a lot to learn about vitamins and minerals. I can't keep not even anywhere close of all the knowledge that I've been even exposed to about vitamins and minerals in my head at all times. I have to go back and reference because every vitamin and mineral is like intricately different. How much you need, what are signs of toxicity or deficiency, what do they help with, what do they interact with. But this is one that I always go back to as one that's really important. A lot of people around the world have had vitamin A deficiencies. Um, so yeah, I'm excited to dive into that with some practical tips at home, what you can kind of be doing. But before that, I had something I was thinking about, Chris, and I want to know your take on or your answer to this. But I was just thinking a lot about what's your why. That's a common thing nowadays of people really delving into the motivations for what they're doing. And I found that to be really helpful already this week of not just entering my work days with the idea of I just want to get to the end of it, but also like why am I doing this? Why did I pick this profession? Why do I care? What am I trying to do? And so one of my favorite things about our opportunity with this Facebook Live is to give people information in a unique setting where we have a little bit longer time to talk. But really, I want people to feel healthier and get that way by important information that they might not be getting from other sources. But yeah, to put you on the spot, what's one of your like motivations for this podcast or I guess Facebook Live?
I mean, it's just congruent with so like okay, so a different frame of mind that I like to go into is like if money wasn't a problem at all, if I had more than enough money that I could spend in a lifetime, what would be my contribution to humanity?
Yeah.
And the answer to that for me is for people to know that nervous system care is the forefront of healthcare, not the backbone of sick care, or to see it transition to that, to where that is a societal norm. That's like, okay, this is actually step one. Like when trying to address chronic issues, trying to address chronic health issues, regardless if that's musculoskeletal or an actual like diagnosis disease. Um, Step one is least invasive. The last step is most invasive. And for the most part, we nervous system care is the last step. And primarily it's just because people exhaust all traditional methods, traditional medical methods. Not a whole lot of them will help out, depending upon who you are. For some people, it does help out a lot. I mean, for a lot of people, it does help. But for also a lot of people, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And then for the people that it doesn't, then they go a holistic route. That's when they might see a massage therapist or a PT or a therapist or something, a neurologist, and then they go down that route. And then even that side of it, it's just not known. And it's not known because there aren't a lot of doctors in the world doing what we do here. There's not a lot of doctors actually assessing, like we're talking about someone that specializes in brainstem function holistically.
Yeah.
Like that is finding someone that understands the brainstem and specializes in it, even from a medical side, is rare. But then to try to achieve proper function of that on a holistic side is even more rare. And it's extremely rare in the chiropractic profession because it's so difficult to do. It's not just difficult to do, but it's difficult to do it well. And so
Yeah.
it flushes a lot of people out. And in the chiropractic space, in our little bubble, tons of doctors will claim they're upper cervical doctors, and yet on visits where the upper cervical spine is clear, they'll adjust other segments of the spine. That
Mm,
is not an upper cervical doctor. Upper
yeah.
cervical doctor is just upper cervical. If the upper cervical spine is functioning properly, not applying any kind of pressure or stress on the brainstem, then you just leave them alone.
Hmm. Yeah.
Less actually does more in the case of chiropractic. And most of the time, where people are getting over adjusted, over mobilized, which they become unstable, which is why they have to go back in for more adjustments. And that's where we get the stigma of I have to go in and get adjusted every single time or every single week for the rest of my life. It's like, well, let's think about why.
Mm,
Um, and a lot of that is just rooted in the stuff that I learned. I was like, man, imagine if the stuff that I'm learning in chiropractic school right now that I'm paying $150,000 for. Imagine if that's what we learned in elementary, middle, and high school. We'd be a much healthier society, completely healthier society. And then imagine if this test, this scanner here, was in a hospital setting.
mm,
How many lives would that save?
mm. Yeah.
An ER setting, all the people who come in that aren't emergent situations, which is probably over 50% of people who go to the ER just go there because they don't have insurance.
Mm,
They'll
yeah.
literally go there. It's like, I have a cough that hasn't gone away in 2 weeks. And then the doctor's like, well, have you gone to Walgreens? Yeah, but I can't afford it. Then why are you here? Well, because you guys legally aren't allowed to turn me away.
Right.
But how are you going to afford this?
Yeah.
Taxpayers.
Yeah.
Anyways, not to get political. I had past experience working in an ER, and it was very eye-opening to see what kind of people they actually take care of. Some of it, yes, a lot of it was emergent situations, but most of the time, it was just everyday stuff. I
Mm,
got a cold, I got a cough, my throat is sore, my ear hurts, stuff like
mm,
that. It's like imagine if the doctor's first thought was, okay, well let's get a nervous system test on you, let's run a scan. Okay, ooh, yeah, no, definitely have something impeding with brainstem function here, and brainstem function that controls parasympathetic function, which controls immune system function. So says you're sick, um, the most the quickest way to get at the root cause of this, we're going to go ahead and send you off to radiology. They're going to get a couple motion films for you, and then we're going to send you into the doctor. He's probably going to adjust either your first or second bone. We'll have you rest in the gurney, rest a little bit, rescan you, and then that looks good. Then we'll send you home, and then we'll refer you out.
yeah.
I did like so for me, it's like what can I contribute in my lifetime to push the needle
Yeah. I get that.
to
So,
where
yeah.
that's a reality. Where that's a reality. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be incredible when that
Heck yeah, it
happens.
would.
Yeah, and like the Happier, Healthier Arkansas thing too. I just think about
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas being the first to do that and how quickly we could improve health in the state. That would be awesome too. But
Mm-hmm.
I digress. I think about what you said, and I really resonate with getting people healthier in a holistic way, a preventive way, rather than them exhausting every single other approach when they should have started with the root cause. And I was just talking with someone who is or has in the past taken an immunosuppressant when it's very likely that they have another cause, probably a food sensitivity triggering their immune system. And that concept of your immune system firing and releasing chemical mediators causing inflammation, the the idea of using something that just suppresses that down is such a band-aid approach, such a crutch. What if you could just remove the thing that's causing the immune system, the trigger, the food trigger? How much more natural. They wouldn't have to use the immunosuppressant. They would just work with a dietitian to change their diet. That's the kind of preventive strategies that make a huge impact on people's lives. So I love helping people with their food and nutrition choices because it 100% of the time affects people. We all have to eat. So we're all eating some things that are either helping or hurting our health. And so there's always some type of immediate impact, even if it's small. And there's a lot of impact long term. which is really exciting. And that's why I've gravitated. That's why I'm in private practice, outpatient setting, instead of inpatient dietetics, where I have very little control on someone's well-being. In this setting, I can help people change their health. So, thanks for indulging that question. I think that's fun. That was good to hear.
Yeah, and even like another interesting concept too is, like you said, everybody eats.
Right.
Everybody also sleeps.
Yeah.
Everybody also thinks.
Mm-hmm.
What is the one thing that's a variable for people across from a person to person questionnaire? Exercise.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is the highest lever of regaining or optimizing for health outcomes?
Yeah.
Well, if everything else is an independent, and there's only one thing or everything else is a constant, I
Yeah.
guess. There's only
Everything else.
one variable. Well, then we should probably look at that variable. And then when you look at people who exercise versus people who don't,
Yeah.
like a 77% of Americans do not exercise. Only
Wow.
1 in 4. That's it.
Wow.
And then, so literally, I've been reading this longevity book. I'm in the holistic part of it now. And so now I'm versed in this stuff a little bit. And so even if you just increase exercise from anything north of 0,
Yeah.
you decrease likeliness of death by 14%.
Yep.
Huge.
Yeah.
Now, if you take the bucket, if I go into the people who exercise, and then you differentiate between don't eat good and eat good, obviously the people who eat good are going to do better. Okay, well then if I differentiate between them and then, okay, less than 6 hours of sleep, greater than 6 hours of sleep. It's like you just go down this navigation piece.
Yeah.
And then you start optimizing for those things. That might be a good video. Get a whiteboard, flow chart. Be like,
yeah.
Shoot, I'm about to do that.
There's a video like that just focuses on exercise, just the exercise piece, and I'll send that to you, and it's so compelling. Like you finish that video and you're just like, all right, I gotta exercise more. But it's just talking about all the different things. Heart failure goes down, mortality rates go down, so you're gonna live longer, you're gonna be happier, better mental health, like everything you can think about. Thinking of your muscles too as like a living, breathing organ instead of just kind of something that only bodybuilders are interested in. But thinking about your muscles and how they're not just sitting there useful when we move, but they're also impacting our health in a lot of ways. They're changing inflammation. They're storing blood sugar. They do a lot of things. And so thinking about that more of like an organ instead of, I don't know what people think about muscle. I don't think they really think about them until they like tear one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, people don't even consider it.
No.
They just think that muscle is just used to look good. Essentially, it's an ego
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Versus looking
Yeah.
at it, being like, okay, the reason that you're able to pick your kids up is because of muscle. The reason
Yeah.
why you're able to go up the staircase in a hotel is because of muscle. The reason why you are able to get out of bed is because of muscle. The reason why you're able to stand up off the toilet is because of muscle. Everything that we do is because of muscle, because they're what's moving the joints. They're what's allowing
Yeah.
us to move. And if you don't move, you are essentially dead.
Yeah. And if you just think about muscle and especially like metabolic issues, which is the main thing that Americans are struggling with: diabetes, heart disease, fatty liver. Your muscles, the more muscle you have, the higher metabolism. And so if someone were to think about the tools that they have in their toolbox, like what do you have? Someone that has had maybe a more active childhood, or maybe they played sports or something like that, tends to be in a better place than someone that had like weight problems in childhood or had a very sedentary life. It's because they have more lean muscle mass, and that's a huge advantage, even if they're not where they want to be. So I think about building lean muscle, not in the purpose of, like you said, just to look jacked or, anything like that, but because it has one of the most profound impacts on someone's health and whether they're going to live long or live well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, love it.
Big impact.
Vitamin A. let's
Vitamin
let's
A.
transition. So here's some things that
Why?
vitamin A
First off, why
deficiency.
vitamin A? Like,
Well,
are you just thinking alphabetical
first letter
or?
in the alphabet. I was
Okay.
just talking about it, so it's a little fresh on my memory.
Okay. Okay.
And I think, like, it's, like I said, it's probably one of the most impactful. So listen to what vitamin A deficiency could cause. Dry eyes, and also age-related macular degeneration. So if you want to improve dry eyes, you need to check your vitamin A foods and make sure you're getting enough. Check your vitamin A status. And if you want to prevent age-related blindness, or at least degeneration of your eyesight, you want to check out vitamin A. It has a huge impact on the immune system. People always think vitamin C, which does impact the immunity, but vitamin A has a big impact. If you want to decrease your kidney stone risk, you want to make sure you're getting enough vitamin A. If you want to potentially reduce your risks for autoimmune diseases, asthma, and allergies, they all have a potential vitamin A component because of how impactful they are in the immune system. So kind of like regulating the immune system. If you want to help balance your circadian rhythms, because vitamin A is used, a molecule of vitamin A is in your eyes, and sunlight hits the vitamin A, and that helps to communicate circadian rhythms. If you want better skin, because vitamin A deficiency can cause like bumpy, crusty skin, and also balance certain hormones. So, yeah, I think that gets people's attention. To me, that's a long enough list to care about vitamin A.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I looked up mechanisms of vitamin A, I mean, this doesn't really go in on mechanisms that at the depth that I prefer. Like when I want to learn stuff about something, like I want to see the charts and like understand, like, okay, it's like
Yeah.
to rhodopsin, and then rhodopsin binds to this, and then da 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 da, and we get vitamin A, and it helps with this. But the top 10 functions of vitamin A, obviously vision, that's one people know. So like eat
Right.
carrots.
Yeah.
Orange things, right? Pretty much all orange things have vitamin A.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting facts. The digger you deeper you dig. So technically, all kinds of colorful vegetables and fruits can have vitamin A, which they don't have vitamin A, but they have beta carotene, and that distinction is important because not everyone converts beta carotene to active vitamin A. So that's an interesting phenomenon. Orange vegetables certainly have beta carotene, but green veggies and red and yellow can also have other types of carotenoids, but the pigments like chlorophyll in green veggies are stronger than the beta carotene pigments, so they look green, but they still have carotenoids. So really, green bell peppers have just as much as orange bell peppers. But in general, sweet potatoes, carrots are an easy go-to. You think about. So yes, orange are definitely rich, but yeah, other colorful fruits and vegetables.
Okay. Looks like number 2 is cell growth and differentiation, especially for skin. So
Yeah.
epithelial tissue. So I guess it's going to help with. I wonder if that. I don't know if that would have anything to do with like hair loss. That'd be interesting. Immune function.
Yeah.
So, and especially with the mucosal lining. And so where mucosal lining is occurring at is going to
Yeah.
be your respiratory tract and also your alimentary canal, which is your GI tract. So
Right. Yeah.
that's going to be, so basically it sounds like vitamin A is big for maintaining the tissue, which acts as a barrier to infection.
Right.
So much as
Yeah.
be necessary for synthesis of those kind of tissues or something like that. So that's why I want to know this stuff.
Yeah. A ton of our immune system is really in our gut. or very close to
Yes.
the
Yep.
gut lining.
And that's why people who get sick all the time,
Yeah.
they're constantly sick. It's
Yeah.
like, let's assess your gut brain connection.
Mm. Yeah.
Assess your immune. Why is your immune system shot? Well, maybe it's because we're stressed out all the time. Why are we stressed all the time? Maybe it's because we don't eat. Right? We
Yeah.
have physical, chemical, emotional stressors. Food is a big time chemical category.
Mm. Yeah.
So, GI issues, just trace the dang thing to the source,
Yeah.
and then recognize like, shoot, maybe I don't eat that good, or maybe the lack of exercise is a physical stress, which it is, or lack of sleep, or I mean all this stuff. This also has fetal development, reproduction, especially
Yeah.
for the embryo, skin health, antioxidant activity, bone growth, gene regulation, so epigenetics,
Yeah.
red blood cell
Mm.
function, and also brain function, especially for neurotransmitters.
Mm.
Very
So
cool.
I just scratched the surface. There's even more that I wasn't even mentioning. It's a
Yeah.
fat soluble vitamin. That's another aspect of vitamin A that's important. If you do not
What does that
consume
mean?
fat, if you don't consume fat with a fat soluble vitamin, or you have a low fat diet, then you're not going to absorb as much of it. You're just going to
Hmm.
be absorbing only part of it.
Interesting.
If you are overdoing another fat soluble vitamin, the other three are vitamins D, E, and K. If you're overdoing any of those, the chemicals and substrates and enzymes that break down excess amounts of those things, like take vitamin D, for instance, those enzymes that are breaking those things down are breaking down vitamin A also. So you think about your four fat soluble vitamins as all connected. So if you overdo one, you're going to deplete all the others. So when people are taking 50,000 IUs of vitamin D to correct a vitamin D deficiency, that's going to absolutely impact your other vitamins. So and that's another thing to consider. Um, so it's a fat soluble one, meaning if you're going to take a supplement, you want to make sure you take it during a meal, or if it's got fat in it already. Like cod liver oil is the best, probably natural source of vitamin A, and it's got natural omega-3 fats already, and it's got vitamin D. So it's a nice little package of, that's pretty safe. Depends on what you look at as far as how much you need, but you really don't want to exceed. You want to be careful if you're getting like above like 3 to 5,000 IUs a day, which is how they measure like international units. So yeah, you do want to be careful because there is a toxicity to fat soluble vitamins like vitamin A.
So for fat soluble vitamins, we have to, I guess that was my main takeaway from all this. So for fat soluble vitamins, I
Yeah.
need to eat a fat with the vitamin.
Yeah. And so the easiest way to think
So
about
like,
that is just eat a meal, because your meal is probably going to have fat, unless your meal is I don't know, some rice. I'm assuming your meal is going to have some fats of some sort. Unless you're just
like
eating
calling
plain
me
white
out.
rice, then yeah, mono meal, right? You're eating some fats
Because
in the
I was
meal.
thinking, oh, monomills are great. Because I was thinking of
Yeah.
like, okay, so like I think a lot of my vitamins realistically come from eggs,
Yeah.
like a multivitamin that has some fat in it, and then my salad. But my salad really, I mean, I have some fats from olives.
Yeah.
Um,
That's all you need.
but
It's just some
yeah.
dressing or olives or just some natural fats of some avocados. That's
See, I can't have avocado because of the pit.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, and I guess there's a little bit of fat too from ground beef that I have, but really it's
Mhm.
my fat consumption is fairly low at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm no longer trying to put on weight like I was
Yeah.
in winter and early spring. I'm just kind of in a maintenance mode right now until after October, and then once holidays, basically after halfway through October, then I'm just gonna see what we can get up to. Just
Yeah.
tough. That's what I learned. It's tough trying to do that while eating clean. And
Yeah.
so I was resorting to getting like extra calories from milk and juice. And I just didn't like drinking my calories. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It made it easier to go down, but it's tough.
Yeah. Well,
It's
you're kind of
tough.
listening to your body and figuring out what it feels best with. Like you said, white rice, no
Yeah.
go. It has to be brown rice.
No, yeah, white rice was a one-day experiment, and also I even tried to like, okay, what if instead of having a bunch of potatoes, what if I just all my carbs essentially came from brown rice? Also, no.
Mm.
So it's a blend of potatoes and rice. Basically, no matter what I try to do, it's a 3-hour meal prep job on a Sunday. No matter what tweaks I make, it's a 3-hour meal
Yeah.
prep job.
Well, we
So
talked about a few weeks ago. We were talking about how meal prepping is hard, but so is never knowing what you're going to eat. Choose your hard.
ooh,
Being active is
ooh,
hard, but so is your back hurting and your head hurting. Choose your hard, and you're choosing the
right.
hardness of the meal prep on Sundays.
Oof, that's good.
Mm.
That's good, man. That's some good stuff. Shoot, I like it.
Mass and I have been really consistent in the gym, and I'm always reminding myself of like it's hard to go dedicate an hour after work, but
Yeah,
it's harder to never have energy to do anything for the rest of the week.
yeah.
I'll take this
That's
energy
why.
boost that I have any day of the
Yeah,
week.
that's why I like going in the morning. First thing in the morning is
Yeah,
get it done. So that way, it's like I'm taking care of me first, and then everything else is secondary. And like, I mean, it would be tough. I would have a tough time if I tried lifting at like 6 or tried
yeah,
working out at 6.
yeah,
I'd have a really tough time with that if it was end of my day. So yeah, morning, that's a no-brainer for me. I have to move. It's like when I saw a thing today where it said, when you get to a point where rest days are tough, then you know you've made it.
yeah, yeah. Nice.
And that is rest days are tough for me for sure. I don't give myself a lot of them. I like active recovery days. That's like mobility and a hike.
I like that a lot. And like stretching's big for me too. I'm like if I'm gonna do like a rest day, I'm still wanting to move and keep these juices flowing. A good yoga or something is clutch. Um,
Yep. Yep.
one
Absolutely.
last thing I want to say, one more takeaway on vitamin A. Hey, that rhymed. Is we've just mentioned plant foods. One takeaway, vitamin A. We've just mentioned plant foods that have vitamin A. Well, that have beta carotene. But I'm actually most concerned for 100% plant-based diets and vitamin A. And the reason being is that, like I said, you have to convert carotenoids to a beta carotene to their active form of vitamin A. And a small percentage of the population has a genetic polymorphism, so just their genes, they just inherited a poor conversion rate,
Hmm.
meaning they really cannot convert the plant-based form to the active form very readily at all. Very poor conversion. And so a percentage of people that go on a vegan diet will feel really poorly really quickly because they deplete themselves of vitamin A. So that's actually something I believe you can get with 23andMe. I may be wrong, but the BCO1 gene is that gene. Yeah. So just an interesting thing. So if someone is eating a mostly plant-based diet, they may need to look at a supplement, or
Mm-hmm.
they might need to incorporate some different strategies. Make sure they have some healthy fats in their diet. Make sure that they have tons of the beta carotene to help mitigate that. So,
What was your example for the exercise? You said going to the gym is hard, but blank is harder,
not
or
having
is
energy.
also hard. Not having
Yeah,
energy is also
having
hard.
energy.
Choose your hard.
Yeah, not having
I like
energy.
the meal prepping one. Meal prepping is hard, but also not knowing what you're going to eat is hard.
Yeah, saving money is hard,
That's
but
like
being in debt's hard,
That's like
harder.
going to bed at 9:30 is hard,
Yes, it's
but
hard. Yep.
also
Yeah.
being tired during the day is hard.
Yep.
Mm. Carving away time to read, meditate, pray, journal is hard, but also not having a clue where your thoughts are coming from is hard.
But
That's
anxiety is
good.
hard. That's right. Going to therapy
Right.
is hard, but being anxious all the time is harder.
That's
Yeah.
good. Nice. Good stuff. Well, I know you got to go. I know you got to dip. I got a
Yes.
patient at 1 and got to shoot some x-rays and stuff. So I also need to get prepped for that. And we'll make sure we dial it in for August and September
Yeah.
and coming in full fledged. I got a lot of good stuff from this longevity book that I'm finally committing to finishing. I pretty much got through about halfway of it
Yeah.
last year and just haven't picked it up since. And now it's like, now that I'm reading this stuff and I'm actually in the holistic section, because the first part was like an overview about the whole frame of mind on longevity and the
Yeah.
difference between traditional medicine versus like preventative. And then the 4 main causes of death, which are metabolic disease like atherosclerosis, cancer, Alzheimer's, um, and oh shoot, oh god, I gotta know this. The 4 horsemen, diabetes.
Yeah.
Um, and then now it's going into basically what can we do about it. And the first step is exercise. So it's going in on like the 4 pieces of exercise, which is zone 2 cardio,
Yeah.
VO2 max, like your basically your aerobic capacity, strength and stability. And then it's got even a breakdown of like what are the thing aspects of strength that matter. And then it's good. It's so good. And there's so much science and studies behind it. And yeah, it's like each page is like 15-20 minutes of talking points. It's dense. It's dense. It's good though.
I can't wait to dive into that future
Yeah,
episodes. But
big time.
until then, Nutritional Edgians, we will see y'all next Thursday.
Yep. Take care, friends. Hope you have a great week, great weekend. Get something productive in your life. And we'll see you next Thursday.